question of equality and inequality, right? That's like, I think, an issue which is coming up now again. So you have, if you look at the financial crisis, 2008, 2009, what happened, this liquidity crisis, the money was created, and in the end, the losers were saved in the end, right? And the inequality grew a lot more, like in that time. So now you have a similar situation, but the crisis affects everybody. And now some people are saying we need something like universal income, universal unconditional income, or and to come back to your point you mentioned earlier, these four horsemen, right, of Walter Scheidel, who like in The Great Leveler, he talks about how pandemic is one of the levelers. It's one of the great levelers between after wars, revolutions, state collapse, and plagues are one of the things that create more equality among people, right? So now the question is, if we look at the financial systems, what's happening, right? We also see that there's some people say there's a huge bubble happening since the financial crisis, right? That even then we had this bubble and it's growing. Right now, the stock market is still really, really high, although the economy is crashing. What are your thoughts about these things? Are we going to see something like this if government puts money in all kind of places? Is there going to be efforts to create more equality?
Yeah, that is the debate. I mean, a lot of the money is going into the stock market, and so there's not everyone in America participates in the stock market. And it is not a barometer of, economic health. I mean, it is measuring asset prices, right? That can do a lot of things. And this has certainly been a magical elevated period. And so, yes, I mean, if you're going to have asset prices that just continuously go up, but the man on the street is saying, I'm unemployed, my employer has cut my wages, he's cut my hours, he's cut my salary, right? Meaning he's saying, I want you to do more and I'm going to pay you less to do it. And, but you're seeing this dislocation in some of the markets where wealth is measured. I mean, the psychological mood, that is concerning, right? I don't know how we fix that. I don't know, our Fed, Chairman Powell was talking about the inequalities in market, but the money he's pumping into it is driving up just that very thing. You mentioned the great levelers of these, pandemics, war, revolution, and state failure. They're levelers in that they bring everything down to the level of the ground, right? I mean, it's not like it's a leveler and like everything goes up. I mean, it levels in that like it's a destroyer. And so all of those things, I mean, people are going to have to figure out how to navigate. Can we get this thing under control, right? Will there be a scientific, a biological fix, right? Are we going to get a therapy? And we're all modern, we're all living in this moment in time where everything works. The iPhone will come out with something new next week and it's going to be great, right? And everything is new, it goes up, it builds on itself, and surely Elon Musk or someone smarter will come up with something to fix this virus. But what if that doesn't happen, right? Nature is ruthless. I mean, and it doesn't care about what we want. But we as humans have always been at war with Mother Nature, right? She bore us, and we're her children. And from the very beginning, we have crafted. We through Prometheus, we harnessed fire and we built tools, and we're artificially, continuously trying to make things through art, right? Better, artificially, right? And so we assume that we're going to be able to do that again. And this virus, right? I mean, it certainly doesn't care about any of our aspirations to equality, right? And in fact, if you read, it is attacking the old, those with comorbidities, with health problems, right? And it's attacking those that have had poor, not health choices, but maybe right access to health or living healthy, right? Well, I mean, those are the very people we as a society are trying to protect. And that's the very thing that this virus is saying, that's who I'm attacking. It has no value system. It's just, right, it's looking for a host, and it's looking it's adapting quicker, right? That's what these coronaviruses do. It is trying to figure out a way to spread itself and to adapt. And it's a tough thing for us to all wrestle with, because there's so many uncertainties here. We don't have the footholds that we need yet.
That's a great point. Yeah, our time is pretty much up now. Maybe as a last question, to come back to the initial image of like this turning point in history, right? If you had to make a quick choice now, and I think it's hard to say, but if you would have to say, is it going to be turning point, and what, yes or no, like which direction? If you can, like a final kind of thought about this.
My instincts are probably yes. I'm a cycles kind of guy. Maybe it's my ancient European barbarian ways of cycles, right? But I think that time is like spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, and that a lot of cycle folks would say we're about time for a something to reshape things. And so, I'm not hoping that because you only get something new and great out of something going away. So if you're part of the thing that's going away and you're putting a value on that, I could be looked at as a cold-hearted bastard, right? Because no one wants to be part of the thing that's going away, because that's part of the destruction that creation, then the phoenix rises up out of. But I mean, there's a lot of cycles, folks, like the fourth turning, and there's just a lot of that we could be, at the beginning of a major change, and that's probably been going on for about 10 years, right? I mean, I don't mean that the virus is happening right now. We're like, oh, this is, but I would say that probably started around 2008, 2000, when President Obama, whenever the financial collapse. I mean, there's just been one surge after another, right? This zeitgeist, so much so that we're like, there's all these memes of what's next in 2020, alien, are we going to get contacted by aliens? And it's a joke, but it's because our minds are now opened up to like, hey, it's all up for grabs, right? Even the average guy on the street, right? The bedrock of truth, the middle class, is questioning, what can I believe? What can I hold on to? What is solid ground? I mean, these guys, and the middle class was never wrestling with those kinds of things. And I think that we all are right now. And then when you have that type of, where people are like, what's happening next? It opens it up for like literally what's coming, next. It gives you have the ingredients for something big to happen. And so I would say, whatever is going to cause the next leg up to create more change is probably what we're going to get out of this. And that could be, when it comes to the election, that could be the president gets reelected, if that's going to cause more dislocated change, or if the dislocated change happens because he is removed from office, right? I'm of the opinion that we are lurching towards trying to figure out where we're on unsettled ground, and we're trying to move towards something firmer into the future. And I don't know what that is. I'm not, if I knew what that is, I'd be out, proselytizing it. I'm not. I'm just observing, and that's my instinct, right? Ask me next week, and I completely could change. But right now, that's just kind of how I see things.
And maybe a last question to you as an economic professional is there going to be a bubble bursting soon, a financial bubble bursting soon?
Yeah, again, it's hard. I'm not just a theoretician, right? I'm out here trying to make a living. I employ a lot of people, and I care about the communities I live in. So just for me, it's not me. It's like some stock market speculator who's like, I'm going to make some bets against or for it, right? You know, I have worked right alongside of folks my entire life that I care about. And I'm involved with businesses of friends who run those businesses that I care about. And, but it is my opinion that, yeah, we're probably, we're coming towards the end of this sooner or later. I mean, either sometime by the end of the summer or before the election or after the election, you know, we should be moving towards some insolvency phases and some rubber, you know, there's going to have to be some dramatic things, or we're going to see in the near term more deflationary pressures, which means there's going to be a debt deleveraging, which means that when debt gets delevered, right, there's reorganizations that have to occur. That entire time, the government's not just going to stand around with its hands in its pockets. It's going to be printing money, right? It's going to be trying to do everything it can to not let this thing unwind disorderly. So you're going to have dollars coming into it, but you're going to have banks not lending, people not spending, right? And so obligations not being met. And until it works itself out. And the risk on the other side is, do you get inflation coming up out of that? You know, right? Does our currencies get debased, right? Or is there fiat? Do we have inflation or stagflation a couple of years down the road? Does in the short term, I would say the dollar goes up, but 2 years from now, does the dollar then fall as the reserve currency? I mean, these are the big games that are being played right now, and it's so surreal because we go on, right? We still have to live our lives, and we're right in the middle of these things where these massive bets that are being made that we don't know, and most people don't care, right? I mean, I don't mean they don't care. They care when something happens to them, but right now it's like, hey, give me some. Rightly so. I need stimulus money. I need unemployment money, and I need whatever you're doing to keep this thing going. To keep going. The question is, does the federal government and our government have the ability to elevate this thing long enough to keep us going until we get a biological solution to this? I think that's what they're doing. They are trying to just keep pushing this along until we get betting on science to give us a cure, right? And that's what we're all hoping for. I hope for it as well. I have my suspicions because viruses rarely are cured, like the flu. There's vaccines, but this one is a particularly deceptive and it's effective virus in that it spreads quickly and it has a higher, it's not like it's going to kill everyone, but it kills enough to make it very disruptive to modern, the way we have all set up our lives together. So it's we are going to have to figure out some things, and we're all going to have to get good at reorienting ourselves and coping and mastering. And you can take that negatively or you can take it positively, right? It doesn't have to be negative, right? It's negative if you're clamoring to get back to what was. You may not get there, right? If you're dying to get back to Disney World, shoulder to shoulder with someone, it may not get there, right? I mean, if you're dying to get back on an airplane sometime soon, but there's other ways to be as a human being, right? And I think that we'll just have to figure those things out. And when you asked me before, what will those new great things be? I don't want to think of life only through economic eyes. I want to think of it through the eyes of me as the human being, just like you are. Like, how am I going to get along in a world that where things are shifting, right? Not necessarily economically, but just me getting along with you as my friend, you as someone that we're trying to do things through the foundation. Me and my wife, my kids, my friends. These are all things I'm trying to wrestle with and figuring out. Do I want to live a life on Zoom? How am I going to get? How am I going to get along? So, unanswered questions, but certainly interesting.
Great closing remarks. And yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. We'll get down to my farm. That's great. Safe social distancing. Literally, I'll give you a call and we'll talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, sounds
All
great.
right.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you so much. That was really, really enlightening, very interesting conversation. So
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks
And
a lot.
all right, thank you, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye.